You've said some intriguing things here. What all of it breaks down to is, as I get it, that most human beings can't keep promises, and so we shouldn't make them. That pretty much scuttles the institution of marriage.
I like your use of the word institution here. Most people experience that when they are in a marriage. They are in an institution.
Yes, it's either a mental institution or a penal institution, or at the very least, an institution of higher learning.
Exactly, precisely. That's how most people experience it.
Well, I was kidding along with you here, but I wouldn't say most people. There are still millions of people who love the institution of marriage and want to protect it.
I'll stand by the statement. Most people have a very difficult time with marriage and do not like what it does to them. Your worldwide divorce statistics prove this.
Are you saying that marriage should go?
I have no preference in the matter, only
I know. Observations.
Bravo. You keep wanting to make me a god of preferences, which I am not. Thank you for trying to stop that.
Well, we've not only just scuttled marriage, we've also just scuttled religion.
It is true that religions could not exist if the whole human race understood that God doesn't have preferences, because a religion purports to be a statement of God's preferences.
And if you have no preferences, then religion must be a lie.
Well, that's a harsh word. I would call it a fiction. It's just something you made up.
Like we made up the fiction that God prefers us to be married?
Yes, I don't prefer anything of the sort. But I notice you do.
Why? Why do we prefer marriage if we know it is so difficult?
Because marriage was the only way you could figure out to bring foreverness or eternality into your experience of love. It was the only way a female could guarantee her support and survival, and the only way a male could guarantee the constant availability of sex and companionship. So a social convention was created. A bargain was struck. You give me this and I'll give you that. In this, it was very much like business. A contract was made, and since both parties needed to enforce the contract, it was said to be a sacred pact with God, who would punish those who broke it. Later, when that didn't work, you created man-made laws to enforce it. But even that hasn't worked. Neither the so-called laws of God nor the laws of man have been able to keep people from breaking their marriage vows.
How come?
Because those vows, as you have them normally constructed, run counter to the only law that matters.
Which is?
Natural law.
But it is the nature of things for life to express unity, oneness. Isn't that what I'm getting from all this? And marriage is our most beautiful expression of that. You know, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder, and all that.
Marriage, as most of you have practiced it, is not particularly beautiful, for it violates two of the three aspects of what is true about each human being by nature.
Will you go over it again? I think I'm just starting to pull this together.
Okay. Once more from the top. Who you are is love.
Mm-hmm.
What love is unlimited, eternal, and free.
Okay.
Therefore, that is what you are. That is the nature of who you are. You are unlimited, eternal, and free by nature. Now, any artificial social, moral, religious, philosophical, economic, or political construction which violates or subordinates your nature is an impingement upon your very self, and you will rail against it. What do you suppose gave birth to your own country? Was it not, give me liberty or give me death? Well, you've given up that liberty in your country, and you've given it up in your lives, and all for the same thing, security. You are so afraid to live, so afraid of life itself, that you've given up the very nature of your being in trade for security. The institution you call marriage is your attempt to create security, as is the institution called government. Actually, they are both forms of the same thing, artificial social constructions designed to govern each other's behavior.
Good grief. I never looked at it like that. I always thought that marriage was the ultimate announcement of love.
As you have imagined it, yes, but not as you have constructed it. As you have constructed it, it is the ultimate announcement of fear. If marriage allowed you to be unlimited, eternal, and free in your love, then it would be the ultimate announcement of love. As things are now, you become married in an effort to lower your love to the level of a promise or a guarantee. Marriage is an effort to guarantee that what is so now will always be so. If you didn't need this guarantee, you would not need marriage. And how do you use this guarantee? First, as a means of creating security, instead of creating security from that which is inside of you. And second, if that security is not forever forthcoming, as a means of punishing each other, for the marriage promise which has been broken can now form the basis of the lawsuit which has been opened. You have thus found marriage very useful, even if it is for all the wrong reasons. Marriage is also your attempt to guarantee that the feelings you have for each other you will never have for another, or at least that you will never express them with another in the same way.
Namely, sexually.
Namely, sexually. Finally, marriage as you have constructed it is a way of saying, this relationship is special. I hold this relationship above all others.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. It's not a question of right or wrong. Right and wrong do not exist. It's a question of what serves you, of what recreates you in the next grandest image of who you really are. If who you really are is a being who says, this one relationship, this single one right over here, is more special than any other, then your construction of marriage allows you to do that perfectly. Yet you might find it interesting to notice that almost no one who is or has been recognized as a spiritual master is married.
Yeah, because masters are celibate. They don't have sex.
No, because masters cannot truthfully make the statement that your present construction of marriage seeks to make, that one person is more special to them than another. This is not a statement that a master makes. And it is not a statement that God makes.